Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World weekly series. I'm Becky, and I'll be your host. And today we're going to talk about building a sense of community in the digital nomad space with my guest, Matilde Leitão. Matilde, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Becky. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad you're here, and we're talking about such an important topic for people that become digital nomads. But I first want to understand your background and how you started your digital nomad journey. Can you share that with us?
Sure. My background has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now, but I am from profession. I'm an occupational therapist. I graduated, yeah, I graduated in 2017, and I worked for a few months, and then suddenly I saw a Facebook ad. It's an odd story, but yeah, I became a digital nomad because of a Facebook ad talking about digital nomadism, which got me super interested and very curious about. I followed up a course from that blogger, and a few months later, I just actually booked a one-way ticket to India, and I started my journey in October of 2017. Um, and yeah, since that moment, I was 8 months in Asia, in Southeast Asia, just traveling around. And since then, I've been traveling around all the world and working online.
Wow. I have to ask,
Mhm.
how did the lifestyle meet your expectations? If you were, just working in the job you'd trained for and then saw an ad, did the hype did it live up to the hype, I should say?
Yeah, so I knew like my profession would be impossible to do it, to continue to do it and be a digital nomad at the same time. I understood that since the beginning. So it was kind of a hard choice because I had to leave my profession behind. But yeah, I think what moved me was freedom. It's a big value for me, and so I just knew I had to start almost like from scratch. So I started to study everything I could about digital marketing. Was the way I went. Started to create my own brand at the time. It went very well, but obviously, and I don't want to talk about in name of all nomads, but I think it's a very common thing. What I did when I started was I was backpacking. I was not being a digital nomad. I was just with this hunger of traveling, so I just went with my backpack. I was changing places every 2 days, and then I realized like this is not possible like this. And I think this happens with a lot of nomads. And then I'm like, okay, I have to adjust. So I started to stay a few weeks in each place, then very fast became a month in each place, and so on. Of course, obviously, right now I'm doing much more than a month per place.
You're so right. This happens with so many digital nomads I see. And like you said, the backpacking is a common way people start. And you can meet a lot of people in hostels,
Yeah.
especially. But then something happens, right? You're moving too fast. You are only having this like bunk bed in the hostel. There's not a kitchen that you can often use, and with the right utensils. And it lends itself to wanting to stay longer in places. And so I have to ask, like, as you transitioned into staying places longer, what attracted you? How did you end up working in the digital nomad space?
Um, I think it was these, yeah, I think what has attracted me was exactly what I just said, these very common mistakes that can actually make you not be very not aware of what is the reality of being a digital nomad. And I didn't want people to give up of this lifestyle because they didn't start it well, because that could have happened to me. But I just pursued and I just continued and understood that was not the way. And I started to also see more content about digital nomadism, even though at that time there was not much. I'm a digital nomad for 6 years, so it's just started to be more hype now. So I think it was that the idea of also helping other people that were just starting in this lifestyle as well, with these little disadvantages of this lifestyle that happen in anything, not only lifestyle but everything.
What do you love about the digital nomad life now that you've lived it for 6 years? And what are some of the drawbacks or disadvantages?
So what I love is what put me here in first place is the freedom. I love the freedom. And people, I'm sure a lot of people think of freedom when I talk about digital nomadism in only in places, but freedom is so much more than that. And also this lifestyle. Of course, you have different type of digital nomads. You have people who are working remotely for companies that have strict schedules, people that are working that are entrepreneurs and can do their own schedule. But at least with me, and I have tried all. I have been working for remote work for remote companies. I was an entrepreneur for a lot of years as well. I've tried it all, and I always think it's the same. It's this freedom of doing what I want when I want, even if I have strict schedules. I can adjust to that because I can be anywhere and I can do whatever. It just I think this lifestyle gives us not only the opportunity of doing things, but the mindset. I think that's the whole thing is the mind. Our mindset changes so much. We just and it seems like, and I don't want to um, to to look like I am saying that this is the only lifestyle and that the other lifestyles are not good. But what I feel about this lifestyle is that people enjoy more life and they have more this mindset of life is limited and we should enjoy it to the max. It's all about experiences. So we are always trying to enjoy to the maximum. And even if we have to work, we'll be working in this bar next to the or in this cafe next to the beach, or we will be working as much as we can in the beginning of the day, and then in the end of the day we can enjoy and go do some new experiences in the new place we are. And so yeah, freedom, resuming freedom is definitely what made me come here, and it's still what is my favorite part of being a digital nomad. And the disadvantages are, I think it's always what everyone says, but it's definitely the being feel a little bit lonely sometimes. And we will definitely talk about this. This is what we are talking about here today. That is like there's completely options there's options already to completely kill these disadvantages. So I don't know if there are disadvantages anymore, but they can be if you don't know what to do. And I think a big disadvantage is that is not talked so much. It's also what we were talking before, which is to think that being a digital nomad is not having routines, it's just doing whatever you want, and always be traveling around. And routines are so important to our lives. And I think we just understand that when we are out of the routine for a long time. Because as we said in the beginning, we start as backpackers, and it's very easy to just go around and change every 2 days or every day places, and just be traveling and work and trying to work in the meantime, and all this mess, it just can really hurt our mental health. And so it's, in my opinion, routines is also something that digital nomads need to be extra careful of.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that the brain gets tired when it has to switch too much, right? So those routines help you stay in these channels and focus more. And like we've said, over time, we do see digital nomads slowing down and staying longer in places. And that's what's going to bring me to my next question. So you are now a community manager in the digital nomad space with Nomadico. And I want to ask, like, how have you been helping build community as people stay in places longer? And what does Nomadico do?
Yeah, I'm a community manager for a lot of years now, and I think it's just to introduce this part of community. I think that is the answer for the problem I've talked before, which is the loneliness. When you are traveling, you can be traveling with a partner, you can be traveling around with some friends, but you can still experience loneliness even if you are not alone, because you can very easily just stick to this group of people or to your partner and forget that you actually need other connections around you. And because you are in a new place, it's not easy to have connections. So I think the best answer to this is community and co-livings. And to introduce Nomadico is it's a new startup that teams up local guest houses, local hotels, and things like that to create pop-up co-livings in especially in low seasons in different locations and start communities and co-livings in those same places for digital nomads. And what we are doing is focusing on the quality of the community, and this comes with the quality of the community manager, which I think is very important. Right now, I am head of community of Nomadico. I'm not only the community manager, but I am also managing all our community managers and training them. And for me, it's very rewarding because I'm also a digital nomad. Actually, all our team are digital nomads, which makes it much easier for us to give the right experience to the digital nomads in scene as well, because we know our needs. And one of our big needs is this sense of community. It's so important to go somewhere because we are traveling around so much. It's very easy to not feel home anywhere. And this is the problem as well. And so what we want to focus is we want people to feel home when they come to our places. And that's very important when in the first days, welcoming the person and giving them the opportunity to actually connect with the community that already is in the place. And helping in these connections. We have a lot of introvert people as well, which is very common in these co-livings, because obviously it's also more difficult for them to create connections when they are traveling. And so we are there to help them actually not only having people surrounding them, but actually start connections and friendships that can go throughout their lives.
That is incredible. And you mentioned co-living. I know a lot of co-working spaces are out there, and I'm not sure which came first, to be honest. But what is your opinion about going somewhere and staying in a co-living versus just going to a co-working and having your own space that you find?
It's funny you ask, because yesterday I had a conversation with also a long-term nomad. And he gave me a new perspective on this that I never thought, which is like, we always, as you said, we always have the opportunity to imagine, go to a place, and instead of going to a co-living that are usually more expensive options, I want to just rent something of my own for long term and go to a co-working. Some people do that. But then you have people like this friend I've talked yesterday. He's already retired, so actually going for a co-working to a co-working for him just makes absolutely no sense, because he's no longer working, but he still wants a community. So there are still places, especially we were talking, especially in Asia, that don't offer any options of co-livings, and these people don't know how to be with the community that doesn't exist in this place. If the only option is to go to a co-working. And even for the people that a co-working makes sense. I'm going to give my own example. Bansko, a place that both me and you know very well and is very known in the Nomad community. Bansko is probably one of, I think, I don't want to say without knowing completely, but I think it's a place that has the biggest number of co-workings per square meter. It's a very small town with, I don't know, 4 or 5 co-working spaces. So I thought the same for myself. Bansko was my base for 2 years. And I thought I can just rent my own place. Actually, Bansko also didn't have many options of co-livings. So I thought I could just rent my own place and go to co-working, which I did. And in Bansko, and this happens very often in other places, which is you have different types of co-workings for different type of people. And I felt like none were for me, as it was one that was very like party vibes, which like if I'm going to co-working is to work. So for me, it didn't make sense. So I went to this one where people actually work and it's very productive. And I can say the name here because I totally like recommend them. They're amazing. Nestwork. It's run by locals as well. But what happened when I went there is the first year. Now finally they are doing some events, but the first year they were opened. They were just a co-working that is strictly to work. So I wanted so much this sense of community and meeting new people, and everyone was just working all day. I would go to pick up a coffee, and I'm like, let's talk. No, no one. Okay, and it's just like it's so hard. You just have to work so much to do connections in the area where you are working, then just going to live in a place where everyone lives there and the most basic connections happen when you are eating or cooking together or just, I don't know, waiting for each other in the to go somewhere or to go to the groceries together. All these little things will never happen in a co-working, and these little things is what connects to each other. It's like imagining being with your siblings. We always say like we love them but we hate them, because these little things brings us so much together and give us these feelings of like, oh my god, just hurry up, or things like this. But then you cannot live without that person anymore because you're so used to that person, and these connections in my opinion will never happen in the future.
Yeah, you make a really good point. And I don't, for people who haven't tried a co-living, they've only tried co-working. I recommend that you try it with Nomadico, or maybe if you're in a town, like you find a co-living near you, to see the difference first. Maybe that's taking the first step, is staying at a co-living. But I have a question about like, you mentioned the siblings. If you see someone too much in the co-living and you're living right in the same space, have you had any issues with people not getting along? Or because then it feels like you're maybe stuck with someone and it's hard to get away or feel sometimes even safe. I don't know.
It's a curious question because actually never happened to us yet. No one ever like disliked someone, or at least they didn't share with me. And I don't know. I think it's the sense. Also, we thankfully we actually attract always very good community. I don't know, but I always love our communities, and it's curious. We always get along, and of course you will always like more one person or the other than the others. Definitely that happens. That's life. That's literally real life happening. But then our houses are big. We have houses with 11, 13 rooms. So we always make sure you have common areas, common spaces, but you also have everything you need in your private space. In your room, you always have like a private desk for you to work, everything you need. And so I think that's the beauty of a co-living is if you want privacy, you have it, but if you don't want, you don't have it. And now we actually went to the next step, which is right now we have a Nomadico in Madeira, which is our absolute best location. It's always full. It's already fully booked for October. And it's amazing. In this little paradise that is called in Portuguese, the translation is Garden of the Sea. It's like this little place in the near of like surrounded by a garden, and then in the other side surrounded by the ocean. Is amazing. And because we wanted to get our community bigger, because we had so many requests, right now what we have is this, we call it Nomad Village. And what we are doing is we have options for everyone, because you will always have different people. I remember we had, for example, a request of a person that was a little bit older, in their 50s, if I'm not wrong. So they wanted something more private. So right now what we have is we have our bigger house with 13 rooms where we started. Then next door we have private apartments for whoever wants to still be in a community but have their own privacy for everything, even cooking alone, everything. And then we also have our shared villas for people who like to even have a bigger connection with people. And in this, it's just like 3 to 4 rooms, and you feel like literally in your own house with just friends. And we have all these options. And this guy came to us like, listen, I'm not sure it will be my first experience. I'm not sure if I'll like this community sense idea. So I just want to try. Definitely, I want to be in the private apartment, and I don't want to be forced to go to any event and things like that. And we explain him, we don't force anyone to go to any events. We have events. If you want, you come. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Guess who was in every single event? Him. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. He wants already to continue to travel with us in other locations. He was the one already in the group, in the WhatsApp group. We always have a WhatsApp group for locations. He was already the one like, guys, let's do something. Let's grab a beer already. Okay, let's go. Like he was absolutely loving the community idea. But at the same time, he had this opportunity, and he put up for this opportunity because he felt safe to try, even having this privacy. And yeah, and I think that's the beauty of co-livings and communities, is giving the people the opportunity to actually try something new. As you said, I'm super up to it as well. I leave this recommendation here: just try. We have, for example, a week minimum stay, because for us it's very important that people are not always coming in and out, even though our average stay is 3 to 4 weeks, and a lot of people just extend afterwards. So just stay, even if for a week, for 1 week, stay, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Wow, it really sounds incredible and such a great story of this person who started. It sounds like he started to shine when he saw all the energy in the house and in the co-living events. I'm curious, what kind of events do you typically have at these co-living spaces?
We have several events because we had just so one of our mottos is we don't do the events for the people, we co-create events with them. So we always adjust the events are adjustable according to the community we have at that time. I remember in Madeira last season we had groups that were more outdoors, and so we were doing hikes every single weekend, and we tried all these experiences, canoeing and everything. Was super incredible. But then we had other type of community that were like more indoors, so we tried all these different family dinners with different recipes from all over the world. It was super incredible. But we do have a few events that we do all over our locations, and we try to have them very often. One of them that happens every single week in every single of our locations, because in my opinion, is a very important one that actually brings people together like any other event, is our family dinners. And that's the only event, my community already knows this is the only event I ask them to actually be present. And I will not force any other, just this one. And luckily, everyone always wants to come to these events. And it's just very important. We not only have these, it's exactly like having a meal with your family. Everyone knows at that time, in that day, you need to make time for the family. It's family time. We all cook together. We all come together to this idea of cooking something, any dish. We always try to do different dishes according to the different nationalities we have with us. And I don't know, but all these idea of cooking together and then sitting together and having this meal together and talk about everything that happened throughout the week and our plans for next week. And here is also where we prepare the next week events, so we can all do the events we want. We always have our own guests, our nomads, doing their own events, and then I just help them, or the community manager on site just helps them, and then it's their own event. They have this feeling of belonging and yeah, it's not just a community where they come and then the community manager tells them what to do. It's just like we all co-create and we are all a family.
Really beautiful. I'm wondering, so you mentioned the hiking. Is the community manager able to help, for example, get transportation for people that may not have cars when they come to Madeira, as one example?
Actually, yeah, actually in Madeira, we always recommend to have a car because it's unfortunately, being me a Portuguese, unfortunately, that's a big problem in Madeira, the public transportation. So we always try to advise our guests that stay with us to have a public transportation, especially as we are in a remote area, which makes our place so special. It's very remote, very such a beautiful place in the island. And so if they don't have public transportation, we definitely are always there to help them. That's definitely the role of the community manager, is the go-to if you need any help. And then and that's what I think makes us so special, is we not only have the community manager on site, but as we partner with local guest houses and local houses, we always have our hosts there as well. So there are local hosts that know everything about the place and that can help you always anytime you need. And we make sure we partner with very amazing people. And I am so proud with the people we have been working with, because we not only are able to help them and bring all these amazing guests to them, but we also have these amazing connections happening between the guests, the community manager, the host, the rest of the team that is just online and they don't even see them, but they talk with them in case they need any help. It's just, yeah, it's just a big family, like I said before.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
where are you currently located? Where is Nomadico, what with the co-livings so far?
Yeah, so right now we have a few options already, which I'm very proud of. Obviously, Madeira. We are also in Medellin. Right now, we expanded to the other continent, so we are in Medellin. And very soon, I think we'll be in Mexico. We had already a location in Puerto Escondido, but maybe the city of Mexico, let's see. We are in Tagazut, is also a location that I love in Morocco. And we are also in Lobitos in Peru. And in Portugal, we are also in Ericeira. And then in Bansko, which I have already spoken here, and I'm very happy and very proud to have opened that location because Bansko was needing a co-living. We have one already, but it's always full. So it was, for me, it was very important to open this one in Bansko as well.
That's really exciting. And what I'm hearing is that as you continue to open locations in different continents and different climates, I mean, I'm thinking the families that could be created can follow each other
Exactly.
around the world.
That's exactly the idea, and it's already happening, which makes me so happy. We have already people traveling within our locations, and we just want more and more that to happen. Because as you know, as a nomad, it's also like this part is also hard to like. I can go anywhere in the world. Where should I go? Because I still have to worry with good internet, good work conditions. So I feel like we spend a lot of our time planning for the next location. And to be honest, as a nomad, is the part I hate the most. I hate planning. And it just takes me so much time that I'm like, oh my God, this is so annoying, so useless. I'm wasting so much time. So this is also something we want to answer to people like me. And you can just like, if we are there, you know that we always have the best internet. We always try to have the best work conditions, and you have everything you need to your digital nomad life there. So you can just like look at our destinations and go, and that's what's starting to happen. And we want to see more and more of that.
Great. And do you have any digital meetups? I'm wondering if people are meeting and connecting at these different co-livings and that maybe they want to plan to be at the next one together. Of course, they can use WhatsApp, but do you have any kind of organized digital meetups?
Not yet, but it's definitely on the to-do list. We are going to be in November 1 year. So we are very recent, even though we have already all these locations and we are going very well. But that's in the plans. We really want to have this online community of people who are traveling within our places, and also a place where they can also be connected all the time, but also where they can see where everyone is physically and travel within our locations as well. So that's something we are very excited about, but it will be in the future.
Okay. And my last question for you, Matilda, is I think something that's really tricky when you have co-living. So what has your experience been so far with locals connecting with the people coming to stay in the co-living? Because I've stayed in some co-livings where it was a country that was so rich with the culture, but everyone I was staying with was not local to that country. So I think it's quite a challenge to mix, but have you been able to do this yet with Nomadico?
Yeah, so I love that question because that is something that me personally love to think of, and because I think that's why we travel, or at least that's why I travel. If I am going to a place where then I just have other if I chose that country and then I don't have anyone around me that is from that country, I can just see the place, but it's not the same. You learn about the place with the people from the place. So that's what also, in my opinion, one of the things I think it's very different in Nomadic, and that I think it makes the whole difference is, like I said before, we always have our local hosts with us. And for example, in one of our places in Madeira, Cecilia, it's our bigger house where we all started. She lived with us there, and it's like our mom. She's our mom's ages, and it's just amazing. She explains everything. I remember one day she comes to scream because there was this local party that no one knows about, but we should go. And then we go to the local party with her. Or she's always cooking the most typical foods of Portugal and Madeira for us. And those are experiences that no one takes us. And same in Tagazut. I remember our host in our place in Tagazut was always constantly cooking the best Moroccan food for us. And then not only our hosts, but we have the big pleasure of having our community managers are also locals in most of our locations. In Tagazut, we have a local community manager. In Medellin, we have a local community manager, and those people are there with you, living with you, and showing you the best of their own place, but always there for you. And then we have an example like Bansko. We opened Bansko, and it was in the summer season. So there's still a lot of nomads, but not as many as in the winter. So I was a little bit worried. So are we going to be a big community? I don't know. Let's see how this happens. So the first guests, we had like 4 guests the first week, something like that. And I thought like I was a community manager. And for me, Bansko is I know Bansko better than my own town right now. And it was so amazing to show them. And now I could feel what the local community managers feel. It was so amazing to show them around my own place and all the secret spots I know and all these tips. But I'm at the same time connecting them with my own friends, and that's amazing. Right now all the guys from that first week just come back to Bansko, and they were just contacting me. We had to come back. It's amazing. We are now friends of your friends, and now they are all just hanging out together while I'm not there anymore. And this is what happens in the other locations. If you have a local community manager, that person has local friends, and we are all going to hang out together. You are going to be part of the group as well, and it's amazing. We are always we are surrounded of all nationalities that come to our locations, but also to locals, and that I think makes a huge difference in everyone's experience.
Absolutely. Oh, this sounds like such a lovely community, and I hope that people start to look more into Nomadico. I hope you keep opening spaces and just bringing
Thank
that
you.
sense of community. And also, I think we've had some good ideas discussed about how you do that. And I want to go to a family dinner someday.
You are more than invited. Join us in any location.
Thank you so much. Well, Matilda, is there anything else you would like to share with us today?
I think the most important I've shared already, and it's not just about what is nomadic and the importance of community in digital nomadism, but just try. Come try one time, whatever duration you want. I'm sure you will want to extend, but that's a problem for later. Just come try and see the experience for yourself. Like especially, we have a lot of people who start the digital nomad life with us, which makes us very proud of. Especially if you are able to work remotely for whichever period you can, even if you never thought about the idea of being a digital nomad, just try.
Such great advice. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. I have known
Yeah.
people who were in these kind of shared houses. In this case, it was a year or two, and they met a friend who visited another friend in the house and they got married. I mean, I've known a lot of
Oh,
romantic connections that have come through like a co living situation. So it's a, as you said, a
completely.
closer way of getting to know people. So let's put that out there as well.
And that might happen if I am going to be your community manager because I love love and I love to be the cupid sometimes. I'm sorry that happens with me. I am that person.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, if people want to follow you or Nomadico, where can they go?
To follow Nomadico, we are on Instagram as Nomadico Living. Also, our website nomadico.io. You can see all our locations. You can ask us more questions. Feel free to talk with us in any of our platforms. To talk with me directly, I am on Instagram as thatgirl.digitalnomads. Also super free to any questions. I love to help about this lifestyle and how you can take the most of it.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Matilde, for talking more about community,
Thank you.
introducing us to Nomadico, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.